Hey there again, Booktube, Leanne here and welcome back to another video. Today I'll be filming my May wrap up, so you will see all the books I've read in the month of May in 2021. I read 8 books I think in May, 3 of those were graphic novels, but yeah, I'll jump straight into that and tell you what I thought of them all. So the first book I read on holiday, which was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. I read this right at the beginning of May when I was on holiday in Centre Parks. So this was a reread for me. So I've told you what A Court of Thorns and Roses is about because this is the third book in a series. I've told you what A Court of Thorns and Roses is about before, but to give you a brief summary of what it was about. So it's about a human woman who goes into the woods one day and she's going hunting for a family. She hunts this deer and this wolf comes along. She thinks the wolf is a threat to her food, so she kills the wolf as well. Turns out the wolf is a fae that can shapeshift into a wolf, and Tamlin, a fae male, comes and collects Feyre as punishment, takes her away from her family into the fae realm, and the story progresses from there. It's kind of a love story, fantasy, so battling against evil and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what that's about. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. The main reason for that is because this world doesn't seem to have any stakes, and I never tend to worry about my favourite characters that anything bad's going to happen to them. So yeah, that's the reason it's a 4 instead of a 5, because I do feel like this world could have had more of that kind of idea. So yeah, I love this book very much. 4 out of 5 stars. Great. So after I got home from holiday and finished that book, I picked up Mort. I read this in one sitting by Terry Pratchett. I read this in one sitting. It was a fantastic little book. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars as well, because it was just a fantastic book and I really liked it. Probably one of my favourite Terry Pratchett books so far. This and Equal Rights are both wonderful. So this book is about death. It's the first in the Death series by Terry Pratchett. So he hires an apprentice called Mort to do his job with him, to train to collect souls basically, so they can go on to the next place, whatever that means. So in this book, Death has a daughter who is about Mort's age, and I think Death basically kind of wants his daughter to have a friend, and so he hires Mort to train with him and also maybe make friends with his daughter, only he hints at that. We also see Death becoming like more human-like in a way throughout the book, because he's basically not had a break in over 1,000 years, if not thousands of years. And Mort brings up the idea of a break because Mort is human, he's mortal, he needs breaks from work. And so Death decides he's going to take a break. And so we see Death explore what it is like to be human and to try and figure out kind of what humanity is, does, all that kind of great stuff. So it was a fun book. Death likes cats, or at least cats like him. And he gets drunk, which is fun. It's fun to see Death get drunk, so highly recommend. Brilliant story. The next book I read was Volume 3 of Full Metal Alchemist in this bind-up version. So this is a story about these two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric. They are looking for the Philosopher's Stone because Alphonse has basically been made into a walking suit of armour, and Edward has lost his arm and leg, and in place of those are like metal ones. And so like basically they lost their mum and wanted to bring her back, and that was the price they paid for trying. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I've given Volume 3 a 3 out of 5 stars simply because it's a bit slower. It's probably needed for the story altogether, but I felt like it was a bit slower. What I liked about it was the whole found family trope that's in I think it's the first chapter of Volume 3. There was a whole found family kind of situation, because they're mechanics who make and fix them, basically, are like family to them, and we see like bickering and meals, and it's really nice to see. There's also like this librarian who helps them out at one point, and she's really great, and I like that. But like I said, this one, the third volume was a bit slow for me, so that's why I marked it down a little bit. Definitely want to continue reading, really enjoyed it. The next book I read was Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book. This story is perfect for me. There's LGBT content, there is a band of mercenaries just going out into the wilds and killing things. There's brilliant world building. It's kind of like D&D in a way, where they go and just do things, but also have like they've got something to aim towards, but they do like lots of missions on the way, and I adored this so much. There's the main character is a bard who is trying to get hired by Fable, which is the main band of mercenaries in this book. So Bloody Rose is the leader of this band. So Tam, the bard, is auditioning to get hired by them because she wants more from life. She's just working at a tavern basically, and it's getting kind of boring for her, so she wants to do more with her life. She's got this skill that she's not really using or utilising because her dad's very, very strict, and she just wants to go. She wants to have a life and just live a little. And so yeah, she's auditioning, and it's an absolutely brilliant story of Fable going through the motions and fighting monsters, being the most famous band of mercenaries of the time. They're like touring the cities and fighting monsters and all that kind of stuff. And it's just absolutely brilliant, and I absolutely love this so much. Highly, highly recommend this and Kings of the Wild. Obviously read Kings of the Wild first, because this is the second in a series, and characters from Kings of the Wild come back into this. Fantastic read. Definitely love it. The next thing I read in May was The Never Tilting World, and I read this as part of the Faes and the Gays book club. It was their May pick, and I rated this 5 out of 5 stars too, because I loved every moment of reading it. The characters in this book were brilliant. I mean, I might have given it maybe a 4 out of 5 stars because there was a few missed opportunities in this book, but I don't want to spoil what those are. I might make a review video for this book because I highly enjoyed it, and I've got a few thoughts to get off my chest with this book because there's there was things that kind of annoyed me because they weren't actually brought forward, and it was something that was just so obvious to be, and then it was taken away, and I was like, oh. But it was a fantastic book. I loved the characters. I loved how uncomfortable some of the characters made me in certain ways because I didn't know whether I was supposed to like her or not. And I think my favourite character was my two favourite characters were Lan and Heidi. Characters from two separate groups, but Lan I loved because she was just awesome. Because she was just awesome. And Heidi was just so nice and lovely. And you just can't not like her. It took some time for her to grow on me, but when she did, I adored her character so much. And I'm so glad I read this book because the characters are so wonderful, and the concept of this world and the quest they're going on is great. It's basically the world's been split in two because it stopped turning because of a chain of events that happened pre-book, basically, that get explained. And so we've got one side of the world that's in perpetual day and another side of the world that's in perpetual night. And so we have the main characters of Odessa and Lan in the night side of the world, and we have Heidi and Arjun in the day side of the world. And obviously they're both going on a quest, and that little do they know that they're going on the same quest to the joining of those sides, I guess, so that they can try and fix the world, which is basically what they're aiming towards. And there's a lot of different stories. There's LGBT content, which is brilliant. There is deception which comes to light. There's trauma and mental health brought into it, and I just adored this story so much. I highly recommend this one. And then the final things I read this month were the Heartstopper books, so volumes 1 to 3. I read these literally right at the end of the month, on the last day of the month, so that I could read volume 4 the day after starting June, because in June I am doing 2 readathons, and basically I could use volume 4 as a prompt for the Olympus readathon, and I could use it as a prompt for, as quite a few prompts actually, for the whateverathon. So I read these in anticipation for the readathon, and then the day after that I woke up and I read volume 4. I woke up early just to read volume 4 in one sitting, because I adore these and I could read them over. In fact, I have read them over and over again, so I really, really thoroughly enjoyed rereading these beautiful stories, and my tiara's falling off. I adored reading these gorgeous stories. So if you haven't heard of Heartstopper, they are about two boys called Nick and Charlie who are in high school, and they meet in their form room one day, and they form a relationship, they become friends, and the first book is about them realising that they are falling for each other. And it's just this fluffy, heartwarming, beautiful little story about Nick and Charlie and their friends, and oh, the friendship in these books is so beautiful, and I love the relationships, I love the friendships, and I love all of the characters. Oh my goodness. Have these books, have these comics made me cry, made me feel just everything, and I absolutely adore these. They're so beautiful. I highly recommend. And of course, I couldn't give them anything but 5 stars, all of them. All of them. Just so beautiful. So that is everything I read in May, and my thoughts about all of them. Some of them I will make review videos on at some point in the future, because I've actually written down my thoughts now and getting a little bit organised about the books that I'm reading and making notes. So thank you so much guys for watching my May wrap up, and I will see you next time in my next video. TTFN. Bye bye!